So I don't mean to alarm people, but I spoke with a couple of colleagues of mine which aren't working in Romania at the time. There is a very lovely lady which works in France, in one of the cities most affected, and another chap of mine who is in Italy, and they all told me the same thing, that it is indeed bad. It's really bad. What they told me, it's something that the press doesn't really talk about it. Like, you can find it in a couple of articles, but there are people which don't even have the classical symptoms. And the classical symptoms are quite easy to be mistaken, because the classical symptoms are the sniffles, just a runny nose and a cough, and maybe a fever. And that's really difficult to diagnose, because most people will have that, and either they will think, well, it's maybe nothing, and they'll stay at home, or they are going to overflow the medical system, and the moment they have a cough, they want to get tested, which means that other people who might legitimately have something more serious are now being put further down the line. And there's really no there's really no positive way to look at this. But the main issue is that there are people which do not have these symptoms at all. They might have a sore throat, they might have a little bit of nausea or a diarrhea. They might just have some muscle pains or some general fatigue, and they're testing positive. And these people, they come into contact with other people, and they're spreading it around. And this is what happened before the tsunami hit. So, seriously, if you're watching this video and you're a subscriber of mine, I need your patronage. I need you healthy so you can click on my videos, so you can watch my stuff. So please, if you're in one of the affected areas, stay indoors. You're making the doctor's jobs a lot easier if you take yourself out of the equation. Even if you get like the mild case, you can still spread it around to other people, and they're the ones that are going to get into the hospital. And despite what a lot of the people are saying, that it mostly affects elderly, it's not entirely true. There are young people at the hospital. Like, I've been told about a couple of cases where the people were between 20 and 25 years. There are even a couple of kids in my country that are affected by this. It's not pleasant to be intubated. It's not pleasant to be in an ICU ward. To have a hose stuck up in your nose all the way into your lung and be sedated nonstop. And then when you finally go out back home, you can have like secondary infections and stuff, so you might have to return. It's really not pleasant. Like, it's something that you can avoid, and literally all you have to do is to stay home and play video games. And if you're in Italy, you can even watch porn. I understand Pornhub gave people from Italy access to their premium accounts or something. So that's just literally it. And if you're a person that's like the elderly, or you're in some sort of treatment like chemotherapy or anything like that, then just maximum isolation for you. Don't even go out shopping. It's your own life you're playing with. Like, talk to some relatives to do the shopping for you and leave it at the door. Order online. Like, do not risk this. It's actually bad. Like, I still see people that are like, well, it's just the flu. Man, like, think about it this way, alright? Like, China is a country that throughout the years have focused more on production than on the welfare of their own citizens. And for the first time ever, like, China is willing to take trillions of dollars in damages to lock up its own border. All the countries in the world are doing this. This is serious. I hear people that are like, oh, conspiracy theory this, conspiracy theory that. Look at the European Union. It undermines everything that these people in power have tried to achieve for the last decade. All of a sudden, the European Union has borders. Like, within the European Union, I'm not talking about outside. All of a sudden, it's everyone for themselves. Like, they tried to create the European Union as this federal state, like similar to the United States, except less democratic. And all of a sudden, it's everyone for themselves. There is no central planning. There's just everyone is trying to fix this as well as they can. Like, no, I just, like, if you still think that this is a conspiracy or it's nothing serious, you're delusional. I guess, like, the only way that you can be persuaded is if you're taken to an actual hospital and showed the cases. It's really bad. And again, even if you do get like something mild, you can still give it to your parents, to your grandparents, everyone you come into contact with. So don't come into contact with people if you can avoid it. You're so lucky. compared to me, because my girlfriend works at the hospital and I'm not going to abandon her. I told her I'll stick by her side no matter what. In Italy, as I understand it, 8% of the people infected are doctors, so that's unsurprising. And by the way, like there were other rumors, like people saying, "Oh, Italy is just inflating the numbers," because you can get like a patient that has terminal cancer and he gets it, and then he's like a statistic that died from this rather than dying from the cancer. And I'm like, okay, well, if you want to play it like that, let's say that someone that's pretty young gets into a car accident. It can happen, and the doctors could save him if they take him to the hospital. But when they take him to the hospital, everything is filled up and he bleeds on the way. Is that a death from the car accident, or is it a death from, right? Hey, seriously, like, you can play it both ways. I generally do not understand, because again, like, this is very difficult to compare with other countries. I don't know what's going on in Italy. I do not know what is going on in France. I can barely imagine it. I do not know what's going on in the United States. So, different countries have different issues that they're facing with. I do know what's happening in my country, and there are so many people that are not respecting the quarantine. It's not under a quarantine yet. My bad. We are under national emergency, and people are advised to stay in house. Like, the policeman won't go and ask you for the papier and bitte if they see you on the street. You should care about your own health more. We're already going to take economic damage from this. If you read the newspapers, there are CEOs and economists that are saying this is going to be a time worse than the Great Depression. And it's like, Jesus, man, and okay, if that's going to come, it's inevitable at this point. So we all need to do our part and just try to protect ourselves and others from this. And the best way to do it is to just stay segregated for at least 2 weeks. I swear to God, if there was a war and they would say that every person that's on the street gets drafted, everyone would stay in their houses. I genuinely do not understand, like, in my country, why do I see on Facebook old people in buses and trams? Like, what? Why are you doing this? It's like every young person is doing this to protect the elderly, because they're the most vulnerable. I'm vulnerable too. Like, if you get it, you're playing Russian roulette. It's still a statistic, right? Like, it's elderly people are more affected. Okay, but it's still like, would you play Russian roulette with just one bullet in the chamber? Like, why would take the risk? It's not okay. But still, like, okay, older people are playing Russian roulette with 5 bullets in the chamber. So why are they, when everyone is trying to protect them and shuts down the stores and shuts down the businesses, and they're willing to put their economy in jeopardy, and you see old people still taking the bus? It's like, do you not have pharmacies in your local area? Do you not have stores in your local area? Why on earth are you in the bus? And I'm not even going to start with the old people that are in the park. And this is, like, not even taking into account, like, entire villages. It's in the newspaper. Entire villages of people that are coming from abroad, like Italy, and they're not respecting the quarantine. They're just traveling. And there was, like, this guy, which is now under criminal investigation because he came back from Italy and decided to make a live stream on Facebook as he's walking around the town, not following the quarantine, because that's what the government said. Like, if you come from one of these places, like, 2 weeks you're going to stay in your own house. And people are just not respecting that. My healthcare system isn't nearly as good as the healthcare system from Italy or France. It's not bad, it's just not as good. And it's not because we don't have quality people or skilled people, because most people who live the country and go into Italy and France, they're doing amazing work. And we know they're doing amazing work because the people they work there are sending back letters of recommendations, and they're really happy with the doctors that they get from Romania. No, the reason the medical system is bad is because it's underfunded, and a lot of machinery is missing. Like, things that should be in the hospital aren't, because there's no money. So that's why a lot of doctor leaves. First of all, the pay is bad, and secondly, it's like it's really frustrating to try and heal people when you don't have the tools to do it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen here. It's not great, but hopefully we're going to pull through it. Now, what's also annoying, and I didn't mention this, but there's been like 4 or 5 hospitals reporting it. People are stealing the masks and the sanitizer from the hospitals. And it's really depressing because this is a time where you have major companies and wealthy people donating for the hospitals and trying to pitch in to give them money and doing their best. Like there was this one of the biggest clothes manufacturers in the country decided to spend their entire time creating masks and other protective equipment for the doctors at only 10% of the cost. Like they just wanted the manual labor to be covered and the price of the material, and they didn't make a profit out of it. So it's really heartwarming to see people coming in, and then you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, this box of gloves has been stolen from a hospital or something like that. It's just but again, maybe this is an Eastern European problem. I don't think that this happens in other places, and it's just I get it. Like people are scared, people are terrified of this, but this is the time to remain calm and do what you personally can do in order to help the situation. And what you can do is to stay in your house and only leave if you absolutely need to. Like if your dog needs to go potty, and you go out for like 5 minutes, avoiding everyone else. You wait for the dog to go potty, and then you go back up. And so, like this is something else that I don't get. I see a lot of people jogging. Like I watch the window through the window. I see people jogging. It's like if you really want to go jog in my country, you can still go outside. Like it's just recommended that you stay in, and you should. But if you really want to go jog, why do you do it in the rush hour? Why not do it like at 2 a.m. in the morning or something like that when the streets are empty? Like these types of things, because I get it, like people do need some exercise. I get it, and it's good to stay in shape. Like this actually helps your immune system to stay in shape. But again, like if you're not willing to listen, to stay inside, and you really want to go outside, you generally just cannot stay inside anymore. Just go out when no one is outside. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section.